What occurred when I neglected to secure the door at midnight? A tale of true infidelity. Once upon a time, there was a woman named Sarah, a vibrant 40-year-old single mother living in the bustling city of New York. Since the days of his youth, I have nurtured Mice and Gideon, who is now 23, and our bond has grown immensely. One chilly winter night, our connection felt particularly profound. Gideon returned home, weary from the demands of work and school, his appearance reflecting his fatigue. I proposed that he take a moment to rest in my bed while I settled beside him. He nestled in closer, seeking warmth in the embrace. He enveloped me in his embrace, cradling me softly, just as he did in his youth. In the beginning, it seemed ordinary, just a mother soothing her son Buddhas. We found ourselves in that moment, suspended in time. A peculiar, disquieting tension began to creep in around me. The atmosphere was still, save for the rhythmic thump of my own heartbeat echoing in the silence. Gideon's breathing slowed, and I wondered if he was drifting off into a peaceful slumber. But then, he drew nearer, his arm encircling her with a firm embrace. In that moment, I found myself caught in a web of uncertainty, a part of me yearning to retreat, yet another part remained anchored in place. In that moment, an unforeseen sensation washed over me. A weight beneath the blanket, my heart began to race as I endeavored to remain composed, whispering to myself that Gideon was merely my son. Perhaps he was unaware of it himself as the minutes slipped away. The air thickened with unspoken words, a palpable strain weaving through our connection. Gideon lingered nearby, his breath calm and measured, yet I sensed the warmth intensifying. In that moment, I felt the urge to utter a word, to shatter the stillness that enveloped us. Yet the words eluded me. "Gather round." Gideon shifted, raising his head to meet my gaze. His gaze held a gentle warmth, stirring a blend of comfort and unease within me. Without uttering a word, his eyes spoke volumes, silently inquiring if all was well. I attempted to smile, yet it only deepened the silence around me. Gideon gleamed, resting upon my arm. Gentle and tender, his face radiated warmth as his fingertips glided softly. A flicker ignited within me, something I simply couldn't overlook. I maintained a calm breath, striving to conceal the rapid thumping of my heart from his gaze. As we lay there, I whispered to myself, this was merely a mother soothing her son. Yet, in that serene moment, with only the two of us nestled beneath the blanket, my thoughts swirled relentlessly, feelings that seemed misplaced, yet utterly inescapable. Gideon appeared oblivious to the turmoil I was experiencing. He lingered by my side, his hand gliding gently, a soothing presence. His breathing flowed steadily, his eyes gently shut once more. I pondered whether he was drifting off into slumber. But then his hand shifted, gliding slowly up my arm. A surge of intensity coursed through me, and he opened his eyes, locking his gaze with mine. In his gaze lingered a question, as though he sought permission, wondering if this was acceptable. If he experienced the same strange pull that I did. With a soft breath, I called out his name, my voice a mere whisper in the stillness. I yearned to break free, to distance myself from it all, yet I found myself rooted in place, unable to escape. The tension that lingered between us was palpable, akin to a silent tempest brewing just beneath the surface. Constructing in the quiet, we remained silent, yet the atmosphere buzzed with unvoiced thoughts. Emotions we shared, yet found ourselves unable to voice, as if it were the most ordinary of truths. Gideon drew nearer, his curiosity piqued. With each beat, my heart thundered, and my thoughts surged like a wild river, yet I found myself unable to retreat. I found myself in a tug-of-war, caught between the responsibilities of motherhood and the unexpected emotions that had emerged. As Gideon leaned closer, I sensed. My breath caught, and every thought slipped away into the ether. Departing, leaving behind just that fleeting moment shared between us, Gideon's. A hand settled softly upon my shoulder. His fingers lingered, as if caught in a moment of hesitation. The world around us faded into the background, and all I could focus on. It was the warmth of his presence, the the steady beat of his heart for a fleeting moment. With my eyes gently shut, I sought to find a moment of tranquility within. I urged myself to step back, to create distance from the intimacy that was both bewildering and overpowering. But then I felt Gideon's hand softly rise, brushing a strand of hair away from my face. It was a gesture so simple and filled with care, yet it stirred my heart in ways that left me bewildered. I opened my eyes, and there he was, gazing at me with a tenderness that spoke volumes, a trust that wrapped around us like a warm embrace. His face hovered near, revealing every minute detail, the delicate freckles, the soft arc of his lips, the way his gaze sought out my own. In his gaze, I found a reflection of my own vulnerability, a silent understanding that bound us together. In that moment, I could tell he was just as enveloped in the stillness as I was, both of us caught in a serene pause, suspended in the quietude. As time stood still, my mind became a tempest of questions, doubts, and confounding thoughts, yet my body remained frozen, unable to take a single step forward. I was captivated by him, this individual I had nurtured, and yet in that instant, he seemed like a stranger, as if time had paused in that silence, holding us both in its embrace for eternity. Gideon drew back just a touch. Shattering the spell, he averted his gaze, a hint of embarrassment creeping in, and released a nervous chuckle while rubbing the nape of his neck. It pulled me from my reverie, awakening me to the truth of how near we had been. I inhaled deeply, attempting to steady the whirlwind of feelings swirling within me, wishing he remained unaware. "My apologies, Mother," he murmured gently, his tone laced with doubt. "I never intended to bring about justice for the oddity I created." He steered clear of me, and I noticed a faint flush on his cheeks, as if he too was grappling with the same bewilderment. I yearned to soothe him, to assure him that all was well. But the words became lodged in my throat. In that moment, words eluded me, and for the first time in ages, an unfamiliar sense of awkwardness enveloped me in the presence of my own son. I extended my hand, gently resting it on his shoulder. She offered him a gentle smile, wishing to lighten the atmosphere between them. "It's all right, Gideon," I said, my voice gentle and unwavering. "It's just, well, for an eternity, it has been just the two of us, and perhaps we are both navigating through a fog of uncertainty." Gideon nodded, and I caught a glimpse of relief flickering in his eyes, just as the tension began to dissipate. The doorbell rang, a sudden noise that jolted us both back to the present, shattering whatever moment we were lost in. A spell lingered between us, and I swiftly rose to my feet. My heart raced as I approached the door, a wave of gratitude washing over me for the unexpected interruption when I finally opened it. There stood our neighbor Mark, a figure in the unfolding tale of our lives. Mark had always been a warm and welcoming presence. A reliable companion in times of need. Once upon a time, in a land shrouded in mystery, there existed a name whispered among the winds, Hesmald. Yet, his gaze held onto me a moment longer than what felt customary. And I came to understand that the peculiar energy from that moment still lingered within me. In the presence of Gideon, a peculiar wave of relief enveloped me. And for a fleeting moment, I allowed myself to unwind. "Thank you, Mark." With a smile, I responded. Indeed, the house tends to embrace a certain chill in the air. It would mean a lot to me if you could take the time to properly address the issue with the heater. As Mark stepped inside, a palpable tension filled the air, and I sensed Gideon's gaze upon us from the shadows of the hallway. His face remained a mystery. I cast a fleeting look behind me at him, and in that fleeting moment, I caught a glimpse in his eyes, a spark that resembled jealousy. Though he attempted to conceal it, it caught me off guard as I departed. I found myself pondering whether he was experiencing deeper emotions than he was willing to acknowledge. Mark wandered about, inspecting the heater, inquiring with curiosity. I asked questions about how things were at home, and we encouraged Hesmald to share his thoughts. Yet, his eyes kept drifting toward Gideon, who remained silent, observing us intently. There was an unusual intensity in the air, and I could feel his discomfort keenly. And it wove a fresh thread of suspense. At last, I found my way to my chamber, dear adversary. Perched on the edge of the bed, I revisited every moment that had unfolded. The call of destiny was too strong to resist for long. Yet, I found myself uncertain about how to confront it. At that moment, a gentle knock echoed through the stillness of my door. My heart leaped, a flicker of hope igniting within me as I pondered the possibility of Gideon's return. Step inside, I beckoned, striving to maintain the steadiness of my tone. Unwavering with a gentle push, John swung the door open and crossed the threshold into the room beyond. His face remained a mystery. He approached and took a seat. Beside me, he gazed at his hands, and we lingered in silence for a moment, the weight of unspoken thoughts hanging in the air. There is a weightiness to everything, especially with Mom. At last, he started to let his voice emerge, just barely. A soft murmur, I find myself lost in uncertainty. I apologize if I created an unusual atmosphere earlier. I had simply drifted away, appearing to wrestle with his thoughts. I rested my hand upon his, offering a soft squeeze filled with warmth. Gideon, everything will be all right. We find ourselves in a moment of shared understanding. Perhaps we find ourselves wandering through a fog of uncertainty at this moment. For an eternity, justice has been sought, and at times, the path can become quite perplexing. He nodded, his eyes lingering on his hands. Then he raised his gaze to meet mine. His eyes brimmed with a tapestry of emotions. I found it difficult to decipher. It carries a different essence, whispered gently. It was as though he feared the truth would slip from his lips. I was unaware of the origins of Tor. I experienced a pang in my heart, a fleeting moment of shared bewilderment. I contemplated extending my arms to embrace him, to reassure him that all would be well. Yet, I found myself uncertain whether it was truly what he sought, or if it would only weave a more intricate web of complications. So I simply remained in my seat, embracing the stillness around me. Articulate the thoughts and feelings we share. At last, I inhaled deeply and gazed into his eyes. Gideon, perhaps it's time for us to pause and reflect on the entirety of our situation. I spoke softly, it's all right to feel connected. Yet, it's perfectly fine to seek some distance to unravel your thoughts. And with a gentle nod, they acknowledged the moment. In an unexpected twist, he rested his head gently on my shoulder. Just as he did in his younger days. It wrapped around me like an old friend, soothing and known. Yet, there was an unusual quality to it that eluded me. I felt my heart soften, and I wrapped my arm around him, drawing him close in a tender embrace. It brought a sense of comfort, despite the lingering questions that hung between us, unanswered for the first time in quite a while. It seemed to me that perhaps we didn't need to possess all the answers at this very moment. Let us embark on this journey, unraveling the mysteries one step at a time, hand in hand, as we discover the path together. Though the situation was intricate, we remained there, simply embracing one another. A gentle wave of tranquility washed over me. A gentle whisper of hope that, come what may, we would navigate our path through this journey. In that moment, we lingered, sharing a serene silence side by side. As if all the chaos that swirled around us could simply vanish with the warmth of our proximity. Yet, beneath the surface, I was aware that it truly wasn't. It's as straightforward as that. The warmth that enveloped us was both a soothing embrace and a disquieting presence. There was an undeniable sensation lingering just below the surface, something neither of us could overlook. After a while, Gideon drew back, gazing at me with a swirl of emotions still dancing in his eyes. I apologize. Mother spoke once more, her voice gentle. I offered a warm smile, hoping to bring him some comfort. All is well. Very well. Gideon, together we shall unravel this mystery.